looking from the outside, it's really clear you didn't give yourself time to grieve. 2 days isn't enough, and you've thrown yourself into work for these 2 years.
Again, prime example. Once we understand your business, understand where you are, it's very rare you have to give me a job spec anymore. They're trying to push my buttons. They had the police waiting, told the police that I was aggressive and were expecting trouble, but they brought these boys down to push my buttons. There you go. Something's not right.
I'm Richard Osborne, and this is Drive, the business podcast where I speak to business owners and small business founders about their journeys and the lessons they've learned along the way, helping share this knowledge with you of what makes a small business successful. My guest today is Darren Sharp from SSA. Here is a recruitment agent, somebody I've worked with since 2009, and almost all my own staff within my own organisation have come from. Today we're going to be talking about what makes a good hire and how do you build up a successful team, alongside Darren sharing his journey, his ups and downs, and what makes himself a great entrepreneur. This is Darren Sharp. Recruitment wasn't your first choice of career?
No, so I always say recruitment's one of those industries you find yourself in, right? No one ever goes to university or goes to college and goes, I want to be a recruiter. It doesn't happen. So no, for me was actually fitness. So I used to run fitness centres, set up gyms, PT. I was part of sort of the first doctor's referral scheme that come out. We run that out in Northampton. I used to work with cardiac rehab, getting cardiac patients rehabbed. So yeah, fitness was my first and one love, I suppose.
It's a real passion.
Passionate. That's where I kind of found my drive. I'll be completely honest, I'm not very academic.
No.
But within that, I could strive. I did well. Everything was practical application. And I kind of found my strengths within fitness in more ways than one. I'd done martial arts for years, always been into sport, and it was just a natural.
And that's straight from college.
Yeah, I actually got qualified as a fitness instructor bang on 16.
Yeah.
Right, so I was one of the youngest in the UK that went for a thing back in the day was NABA, which is like a bodybuilding federation. So at 16, I become qualified. Yeah. Still at school.
Because you've got a bit of beef
I still try and look after myself, although it does get harder, Richard, at the moment. It is incredibly hard.
Mine's just all relaxed. It's
a good look. It's a good look.
Content.
You carry off very well.
Yeah.
So that was my first. So at 16, I was at school, used to work in a gym, part-times in the afternoons, then went to college, wasn't sure what I was going to do, and went and did sport and business management. Yeah. And progressed from there.
And you worked your way up through in that career to a point where you was quite senior and sort of I'm reading that literally to the point where you opening up new centres.
Yeah, so I was lucky. So I came in as the first influx of staff, believe it or not, relatively local at Toaster. Yeah. So Toaster was a bit unique at the time, whilst it was a council-run facility. It was all about fitness to the community, right? So they had really good funding. So we got to open their fitness centre, right, from scratch, including building up the equipment, partnerships and stuff like that. And they really invested in it, So it was good. So all those years back, opening up Toaster Leisure Centre, that's really going to show my age now if anybody's from that area. To then they then put more funds into it. Yeah. They helped me get qualified. I was running aqua aerobics, I was running aerobics, doing boxercise, all these other different bits and pieces. And then we got introduced to Northampton, part of the NHS wanted to do this cardiac rehab, right? There was always a gap in the market where cardiac patients would only get rehabbed to a certain extent. Yeah. And then we'll push to one side, and when I say cardiac rehab, that's from stroke to cardiac. So what they used to do, once they'd finished with their physios, they would then refer to us at Toaster. Yeah. We'd then take them on. I'd then build their program from off the back of what the physio had done in line with their hospital notes, and then continue their journey to get fit and recover. So that was a huge bit. And then we got involved with Nautilus, came on board. They're big fitness equipment. And to have something like that in a centre like Toaster was unheard of. So we become a centre of excellence for Nautilus. Did this whole journey with Nautilus, then we re-equipped Brackley and these bits and pieces. So it was a great piece. But also my Achilles heel.
Yeah. Well, the picture I'm sort of trying to picture is you was building up a really good career and like at top of the game really, and that in the sort of health and fitness in the area, and making a lot of change and influence in there, that industry. But that had to come to an end.
Yeah, quite abruptly. Yeah. So I think I mentioned it a minute ago. Fitness was my Achilles heel.
Yeah.
So it was very much do as I say, not as I do. I was overtraining. I was training from 6 a.m. till 7, 8 at night. So I'd open the gym, I'd train. Have early morning class, I'd train and take it. And I'm sat here with my hands going everywhere. I'm very hands-on. And I'm not one to teach from a distance. So I'd get involved in the classes. So all I did was train. Didn't really eat. And it come to the end, I actually, overnight, it all but came to an end. I got diagnosed with ME, so chronic fatigue syndrome. Or what I used to call yuppie flu, which is ironic because I worked in a gym, so I wasn't really a yuppie. But got diagnosed with ME. And that journey had to stop. So I was out of work for a year. When I say out of work, I was off work for a year. All but wheelchair bound.
So I was just about to ask really, so what the impact for that was for somebody who, my daughter's got a very physical job that she does. And when she has a day off and she's sat in the house, she's like, I need to be moving because that's what it's doing. So if this is your life and what you're doing, and then you receive that diagnosis, you've just said that all but wheelchair bound. What is the impact to you for that moment overnight?
Do you know what? That moment overnight is more, I know it sounds sad, it's more of a mental impact, right? I know I can do all these things, yet I can't do them. And that literally happened overnight. I was off, they said I had a virus, so I was on antibiotics. I'd started feeling a little bit, what I call when you hit a plateau when you train, and you become very stagnant, don't make any progress. So I go, okay, I've hit my plateau. I need to mix it up a little bit. Need to change my program, train a bit harder. I was just getting tired. Nothing was working, so I didn't feel right. So Mum took me to the, I'm still a mummy's boy. So Mum took me to the doctor and said, look, you've got a virus, 2 weeks off, antibiotics, be fine, don't train. So doing 2 weeks off, and we always did with the gym, and the guys I used to work with used to do an annual trip to Alton Towers. Just before I was due to come off, goes, come on, Dad, Alton Towers, you'll be all right. I said, the boys are a bit tired, now come. So went to Alton Towers, drove down, didn't feel 100%, couple of rides, the boys, I'm done. I was driving come tired, and literally the start of that kicked in was the boys waking me up on my steering wheel. I was slouched on my steering wheel with traffic lights. Gone to red, I'd just gone. Head kind of swelled, so I was taken straight in. They thought it was meningitis because I had sort of similar where I had a bit of swelling around my head, stuff like that. From that day on, believe it or not, I went through this whole bit. I couldn't get up. I'd get a cup from being super strong. I'm not don't mean that in a bad way, but I was fit. I had black belt at Kung Fu. I trained every day, 3 times a day. I was super fit. Looked after myself. And I'd get a cup, and my mum would have to put a straw in it so I could drink. Wow. That's the extent they got up to. I could get up a couple of stairs, and then I'm nagged. I have to pull myself up. I'd sleep during the day, light sensitive, couldn't think, really. So that was it. Took a few months to get diagnosed. I was very lucky. At the time when I got ME, chronic fatigue, it was relatively new to medicine. It had been about, but very hard to diagnose. Esther Ransom's daughter actually had ME. So she just started being very vocal about it. But her daughter was worse than me. God bless her. She was in hospital a lot, and a lot more severe than me. the doctor that I had when I went to my doctors was a interim doctor.
Right.
Part of his dissertation was chronic fatigue syndrome.
Right.
So I was very, very lucky. He said, look, all the signs lead to. And it took, when I was at college, I said I did my, at 16, I got glandular fever because I was trained. Yeah. And you're not supposed to train for 4 to 6 weeks. 2 weeks I was back in the gym training, even though I felt worse. And they reckon that's a big attribute. There's glandular fever, and then there's a chance of getting ME if you don't overcome it. Seb Coe had it, a lot of high. They used to call it yuppie flu. It was, people put a lot of pressure high achieve, whether that's you burn the wick at both ends, you work hard, you play hard, you train hard, you play hard. You know, it's all associated. So yeah, so that happened overnight.
Right.
Managed to get the diagnosis, and that was it. So yeah, literally a year. Council great, looked after me for a year. Got to a stage where it was, you need to come back to work. And then I think the next kick in the nuts, if you excuse my French, was the council had gone to the doctors and asked for, you know, where do we think Darren's at? And they'd actually sent a letter saying, Darren will never work again.
Wow. So that's what your doctor said to council?
Yeah, doctor said so, gone in. So I then went to a hearing at the council. Again, I'm still not well. And I didn't know this. I presented the letter saying, look, we've got to the stage now. We need to understand we can't keep you on sick. I don't want to be on sick. No. So I sat there, parents with me. So I come in 1 hour a day. I'll come in 1 hour a day. Yeah. Mum used to drive me to do an hour. To come out of that gym napped. I said, I will work. I will come back. Yeah. I used to go in 1 hour, eat, get my diet right. But it was hard. But I made myself do it. And I kind of gradually then built up to get back to football, but it was just too much. The temptation to train, and it was tiring. So I did have to call it quits. Yeah. But certainly weren't going to call it quits on never working again.
No. Which is clear because you are.
Yeah.
And you're running your own business here.
Yeah.
But so that you're forced to make a career change.
Yes.
At that point. From something which has been all about everything you've been doing.
Yeah.
What I sort of, with a bit of banter here, you follow a career path which is the kind of down a path of the kind of people you just don't want cold calling you all the time. So if we were to sort of pigeonhole, like, right, okay, like who are the people that are just like, oh, I don't deal with. So you wasn't a car salesman, so we can cross that one off. No. But you then look at estate agents.
Again, yeah, estate agent. So, and you know, I'm really unfortunate. Estate agent gets a bad rap. If recruitment gets a bad rap, I just seem to be one of those in those career pigeonholes that people get a bad rap for it. But estate agency, I mean, my dad was always in sales, insurance, and life policy and stuff like that, right? So, looking at a salesy sort of job was a kind of natural thing to do. I had a couple of friends that were in a estate agency and enjoying it. I said, look, why don't you come and try this? Yeah. So I was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Everything else is gone. So it seems all right. I'll go look at houses. I like houses. Yeah. How can it be? I get to talk to people, get to meet people, a bit like I do in my daily life within the gym game. It's a very personable business, which is the bit that I quite like. Yeah. So let's try it. Yeah. And then I got an interview at Bairstow Eves, got offered and started off at their training bits in Dustin. Yeah. That progressed really quickly, ended up in Milton Keynes, City Branch, within sort of 3 months, which evidently is good going. Yeah. And then went to a couple of other places, run as managers. And it's if you do it well, it's a good career, but it has a threshold, right, of how much you can do. You work weekends, and estate agents good estate agents work hard, work the weekends. You always got to be in.
That's what
only time you've got to sell 7 days a week.
Because it's business to consumer, and consumers are generally busy during the day.
Yep.
So it's evenings and weekends. So you're going for somebody who has ME, and you need to be mindful of the not burning the wick at both ends. Yep. To go into that career is long weeks, long days.
Yeah. And, you know, I'd had that year out and I was at the stage where I could manage a day.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I wasn't back training,
No.
which is, again, for me, that's a mental drain, right? That the training is my release. I don't do it to be fit. I don't do it to be big. I do it because it helps, keeps me focused, keeps me energized, keeps me. Yeah. So there was also that battle. But the first thing was to get back to work, right? I was enjoying it, and I was getting through that. Lots of rest, lots of things. It was fine. The ME was kicks in and out, but I could manage it, and people wouldn't notice as much.
So during this time, at what point, where's your personal life and your career sort of moving along and that sort of
stuff? So personal life was going well. Fiance, status, he was good. Now manager of a branch, was going really well. Fiance was hairdresser. Yeah. Decided to open her a salon. As you can see, I always say Trevor Sorbett's bold. Don't judge me. I'm the person in the back that just floats in and out. You know, I'm not like the pin-up. Come have your haircut here. It doesn't work. Salon, managed to open this salon because I was in the estate agents. Had some great contacts. Yeah. So I had all my builders that we used to sell the speculative houses to. Yeah. Came in, helped me do bits in the sun. Built, did the floorings, did the walls, did skimming, did decorating. So I used my network. Yeah. And we set up a salon on Willie Road that was great. We subsequently split up.
But this was your first sort of step
business
into...
So that was what, 26, I think, something like that. Yeah, 6, 27, yeah. And and from the twofold really. From obviously you just mentioned, so you split up afterwards. Yeah. But going into that at the start, did you have a sort of excitement about starting your own business? Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
And it just happened.
Yeah.
It was like, she'd left her job with her salon. She was a good stylist, really good colourist, and she'd do it mobile. Yeah. She was at capacity for mobile. Yeah. Let's open a salon. Should we? Yeah, let's do it. Let's work out, get a shop. Because I was in a estate agency, knew a couple of good units. Managed to get a unit, managed to get a deal on the rent, 3 months, 3 to 6 months. Was it 3 months rent free? I think we managed to get. Used my builders to spec it. Yeah. They did it out. Yeah. There we were. All of a sudden I had a 2,000 square foot salon with 8 stations.
And my wife trained as a hairdresser at college at what was it? College in Luton. I can't remember the name of it now, but so she's a qualified hairdresser. She doesn't do my hair now. She's like, go and get it done yourself. I haven't done it for years.
I haven't got the patience for you.
Yeah, she hasn't got the patience. Yeah. But you said earlier, use the expression "do as I say, not what I do." Yeah. I made the same mistake, but I haven't separated from Leslie. But you just mentioned that you did separate. Yeah. And one of the things that we do see so common with people when they're in relationships or friendships and they go into business together is the differentiation of the business to the personal side. Yeah, yeah. And I'm going to hazard a guess here that going into that business, you didn't create sort of partnership contracts or anything like that between you because you don't think that.
No, you don't. And again, it was, I'd set this salon up, right, and it was doing really well, but I was also still estate agent. Yeah. I'd sold my cars and everything else to set up the business, but I was a estate agency, so I'd go in, they'd set up, we'd make sure the shop was good in the morning. I'd finish estate agency, there's stuff I needed doing. If I was on lunch, I'd whip over in an hour, do bits in the salon, come back out, then I'd go in the evening, make sure the girls are all right and do. And again, it's kind of, I don't wish disrespectfully to anybody else, my ex was a very, very good hairdresser. Mm. And that's where it ends. Yeah. No business acumen. No. Wasn't that good with staff. So I was doing all those other bits in the background as well as estate agency and stuff like that. So, and that's where the I suppose that drift started to come in.
Yeah, I think, generally that's a business lesson for anybody really,
Yeah.
when you're looking at, you had a day, you were still doing the estate agency.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you had that throughout the day. But if you think about a business where both partners or more are in that business every day,
Yeah.
then you work to your strengths. I'm just thinking back to my wife. Before we got married, no, just after we got married, around that time, she opened up a shop in Toddington, just north of Luton, and she sold really bloody expensive teddy bears. I say that in jest, but she sold mohair bears, and they were handmade by local artisans.
Yep.
And who would create these bears handmade. Everyone was unique. And they sold for hundreds of pounds. And then she had these really scary porcelain dolls that were like 2-3 foot. They were scary.
Bit like a Chucky doll.
Yeah, sort of thing. But they were like amazing. Rocking horses, things like that. And her skills she's creative.
Yes.
So she used to become quite well known in the area for her window displays she'd create. So because she had a lot of merchandise that she could really make these window displays, people would come along, take photos of the front of the shop. Yeah. And this was like before social. If we did this today, social media marketing,
be completely different, right?
It would.
Yeah.
But again, her focus isn't on the business side of it.
Same, yeah.
I can relate how it can get frustrating in those points because you're sitting there thinking, you need to think about this bit, you need to think about the bit, you need to watch the numbers and stuff. So I can relate to those parts.
Yeah.
But ultimately, as you just said, it gets relationship came apart.
Yeah.
You don't have any shareholders agreement, partnership agreement, anything, how it's going to be handled.
No.
So it's not all agreed at the outset.
Yeah.
So how does it get resolved?
Gets resolved. So again, it wasn't far from an amicable split, which is never good, right? I had a house at the time. She put a hold on the house, so I couldn't sell it. She wanted to try and get money out of that. I had the business. Consequently, as I said, the only plus side was she wasn't really a good business person. Right. So I did my digging around, realised that she'd been spending money left, right and centre within the business. Managed to speak to people I know, got myself off the business for any liability and managed to sign it over as she wanted and keep my house.
Right.
So that then salon last probably another 6 months.
Yeah.
There at the helm.
And you to coin the term divorce, but actually it sort of separated.
Yeah, left her with the business. I kept the house.
Yeah.
And never the times you'll meet again.
Yeah.
So, and again, it is a lesson, and I keep making these errors, trust, right, family, relationships, stuff like that. But again, business is business, and it has to be treated as a business. Don't get me wrong, you can have the family feel to it or the association, but it still has to be tight. Yeah. Because we never know what's going to happen in the future, right?
No, and as you've experienced, so as your journey has taken you towards the next sort of career choice that has a bit of a bad rap.
Yeah.
You hit another, I was going to say stumbling block, but a bit of a rocky road.
Yeah.
But that experience sort of sets you on a path towards doing things on your own.
Yeah.
So that rocky road that sort of takes you from a estate agency into recruitment, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Talk us through that sort of journey.
Do you know what? I just finished that split up bit.
Yeah.
And it was, Stacey was still good, still doing okay. And the son was still kind of there. And I got approached by a friend that I worked with in an estate agency. Yeah. And you'd seen IT recruitment coming through. Yeah. And a couple of ex-estate agents from Northampton that knew my mate had gone to London, been in recruitment for a while, and they set up their own recruitment company. Yeah. Said to him, right, we like estate agencies, right? The synergy is very much the same. Kev that works for me, ex-estate agent. Yeah. We've got a house, I've got a buyer. I met as a two, right? Been doing a property. I've got a candidate, I've got a job. I want them both to view. Right? That route to market is exactly the same. So it works quite well. And the hours, consumer driven. So the guys have to make calls later on in the evening because people are at work. So, that environment's the same, so they don't have to work weekends. So
funny you mention that, because literally just as you say that, because I only see it from the employer side, like working hours.
Yeah.
But so when I'm thinking back to the estate agency and I'm thinking, right, before you even mention that, I'm thinking, right, recruitment, you're sort of getting your working hours back to sensible. But no, you're not, are you?
No.
Because it's been a long time since I've been an employee. Looking for a job. Funny enough that LinkedIn keeps sending me like job offers. I'm like, you've got me in the wrong demo. But it's I've never appreciated that until you literally just said those words there.
So it's I think like anything, even you as a business owner, to be successful, nothing is 9 to 5.
No.
Nothing's 9 to 5. Right, it's what you put in, you get out, right, and I think that's the same. It's just within a estate agency or recruitment, it's a given. You have to do it. There is no other way around it. Your days basically left prepping for what you're going to do in the evening or the weekends and follow through, because that's when people can chat and talk. So there's a lot of time management with it. So just going through the piece with the salon. It was still kind of, that had just finished. Estate was good. And I phoned up and said, why don't you come for an interview? And funny enough, my ME had just kicked in. I remember it vividly. I was bad. I was like, I don't know. Yeah, come for an interview. Come tomorrow. I said, okay. No, I'll do it. Went to bed, made myself up. I felt lousy.
Yeah.
But I went to this interview, drove myself over. I just shouldn't have drove over there. But drove myself over to Stoney where their office was, had an interview. I said, look, I've just come out of agency. I said, I'm doing all right in a state agency. I said, I'm at my limit. I said, weren't. I said, look, don't worry about it. We're going to you earn what you're earning. Estate agency, no worries. You'll recoup your stuff from the salons. You'll be fine. So like, okay. Time for a change. All that's gone on, let's park it, let's leave it, let's move on. So I took the leap of faith, got home, went to bed, felt because I was feeling lousy. Got a call next day, let's say, look, you come join us, we'll make it all right. So I took the leap of faith, went and enjoyed those. It was great. Yeah. Like a baptism of fire. It was like a state agency, except a level up. Yeah. And it was the time, it was a bit of a boom. So it was good times. lastminute.coms were just starting. And the reason, I don't know whether to take this as a good or a bad thing, the reason that they came to me, they spoke to my friend and said, look, who do you know that's really good with people in a state agency, is switched on, but still a bit of a geezer. Turns that works, right? So again, I don't know whether to take that as good or bad, but it's a bit of a lad. So, because at the time, you've got to remember, it's start-up era. Yeah. And the reason that they said that was I would be dealing with VCs and founders of like 25, 26-year-old guys. Yeah. So they wanted someone that switched, but could still chat to these guys and ultimately build relationships. So I got the job because I got the job because I was a geezer, not because I was a lad, not because of my abilities. But lucky enough that worked really well, built up. I started off as, I was like their second employee. Yeah. We built teams up there to 30. I ran the teams. We opened up Manchester. I went up to Manchester, ran Manchester office for 18 months. Yeah. There was 3 directors. It came to a point where they split up. Got very, very messy. I was in a bit, okay, got to find something else. Old guy from me had gone, they'd set up, got offered a partnership there. So I went and we had good times there. But that bit in between, when I joined them, my mum died unexpectedly. And that was the next kick in the nuts, come back off holiday. My ME was bad before. I'd had a bout of my ME, so I was off for a couple of weeks. And I had a holiday coming up. The boy said, look, go on holiday. It'll get you sorted out. And I was back in and out of hospital. Mum's taking me back and forward. She said, I was ill last night. I said, oh, she goes, yeah. I said, look, go. I'll get myself, no, I'll take you to hospital, did all these bits. Said to the doctor, can I go on? He said, yeah, do you good, Dad? Go away. Mum, last day before hospital again, check before make sure I fly. Oh, I've been bad again. So you're all right, so I won't go. No, go. Went away with my partner. Phone mum, you all right? Yeah, I'm bad again last night. Dad was back. So your mum's all right. So she's at the doctor's. Okay. A dream. Said, oh, mum's not well. So my partner said, she's all right. Dad says all right. I said, no, something's not right. Weird thing. I said to Dad picks up from someone picks up from the airport. I said, I reckon something's. She said, what are you on about? It's silly. Landed. Mate was there. I goes, are you all right? He goes, yeah, come pick it. I still struggle with this bad dip. So I said, pick you up. Said, well, what's up? Said, oh, nothing. Got there, mum been diagnosed with cancer. We had a week left. So I was like, oh my God. But done. So that was my next kick. ME was bad, that. So I picked myself up, back at work 2 days later. Did one of my biggest deals. Made her proud. And then we went again. So when they split up, I'll compose myself now. We then worked with other guys we had an office over in Woburn, Aspie Guys way. And that was really good times. 3 of us as directors. Again, usual business mistake. I hadn't learned my lesson. Yeah. Contracts weren't as equal as they should be. I was making the money with the teams. The other 2 were down the pub, taking more drawings out than me. And it got to that bit where you go, can't do this no more. No. This isn't conducive. You know, I'm starting to dislike you. We're having rows. It's not good. We've got a great business here, but we all need to drive it, and we can do really, really well. So just met Deborah, my wife, and I got offered. A friend used to work with my dad. He's up in Newcastle, and there's a big recruitment company up there that does commercial stuff. Yeah. And they wanted to set up an IT. So offered me to come be MD, set up MK. Looking from the outside, it's really clear you didn't give yourself time to grieve. 2 days isn't enough, and you've thrown yourself into work for these 2 years. Had my dad, my sister. I had to, everything goes apart. It wasn't my time to grieve. So I've got a picture in my head of somebody who shouldn't be working every hour God sends. Yeah. But is and I feel like I know the answer to this, but to ask you're putting all the effort into this business during this period of time. Mm-hmm. Are you a director of the company? I was the director there. Yeah. Did you have any equity? So we got shares, but it was never written. Right, so we'd get profit share and we'd split bits up, but there was nothing tangible. So when you then start to push for it to be tangible. At that time when all that was being set up, did you understand or know what shares and shareholder agreement what limited company structure was? No, because it was friends that were, and we were doing well and enjoying it. But then you start to see the cracks. Yeah. And again, learning curve. Part of it was I still had loads on. Yeah. I was only good man. We were enjoying it. It was good. So then you start to get these niggles where stuff's happening. They're going out, not coming back for a couple of days, and I'm still doing it. They're great guys. Just we couldn't evolve. No. And it gets to that bit where it's one side, and unless it's done properly, and again that comes down to their mentalities. If they're happy going down a pub every afternoon because we're making some money coming, that's great, but it's got no longevity. No. It's got no growth, and that was the bit that was starting to. That was the bit that was grating, So that had sort of started to fall apart. I'd had a couple of disagreements with one of them in particular. It starts to get personal then as well, because you have no document that details how things should contractually be to fall back on, and everybody starts getting defensive. Yeah, and what it was? I took it personal because it wasn't even about the shares. It was about, you've gone off for 2 bloody days, been down the pub, done all that, with no regard for me. Yet you want this money, you've just given me and I think the finishing point was we put in £1,000 bar bill. Right.
It's like an expenses claim.
Yeah.
That's one hell of a night.
And then when I look back, he'd been doing that for a while, because he controlled the bank. But I was like, no, I don't even put in for lunch, let alone. So that's where it started to fall down. And then, as I said, I then got approached to do this one with Newcastle.
Yeah.
It was like, should I? Yeah. Maybe. Okay, I'll take the risk and do it with Newcastle. Yeah. But to be honest, that was probably one of the worst moves I have ever made. One of my steepest, hardest learning curves ever.
Why was that?
Because I did get royally humped. So it from the outside in, there's that old phrase, take the devil's dollar.
Yeah.
And I took the devil's dollar, right? Deborah, my wife at the time, said, just go on your own. For some reason, I wasn't there. No. I should have been, but I wasn't. But I was here to have this big safety blanket of £20 million company. Yeah. Setting up IT, I'd be MD, grow, be great. Took me up to Newcastle, took me out to football games. We had the boxes, had everything else. I was with footballers. It was very well known in Newcastle. But as you start to realise, it was not well known for some of the wrong things as well. So I set up, and I've had to come away from my guys, set up MK. We set up in Wolverton. Lovely office. We were driving it, building it, took a couple of teams on. There was, 5 of us when we first started. We managed to get 5 on. And it's different to commercial, right, where you're getting 20 pence an hour, you're doing weekly timesheets, right? All of a sudden you can throw 100 people on site and it's there. It takes 3 months to build up a pipeline in IT. Which pipeline does that? This sounded okay, good. Great. Deborah was pregnant with Alf. When your baby comes, you get your first baby, we're going to look after the great. Still building. Where's my share things? Where's my share orders? Yeah, it's coming. That's with the accounts. Okay, good. Shares coming. Yeah, it's coming. Yeah. All of a sudden, it went really quiet. Built this business, billing well. All clients come over. Great. But it gone quiet. What's going on? Bit of pressure coming in, but no one's speaking. Okay, something's not quite right. Come into the office one morning, they're there, in the office. 2 big old boys from Newcastle as well. All right, boys. Come down, Daz, you're out. What do you mean? It's time to part ways. Okay. 2 big boys come up. You got anything to say? No, I've got nothing to say.
Wow.
They're trying to push my buttons. They had the police waiting. Told the police that I was aggressive and were expecting trouble. But they brought these boys down to push my buttons. You know, you go, something's not right. Yeah. What are you going to do, Dad? Nothing. Sure? Yeah. They're nice. I look, come on, we'll sort this out amicably. Good. All of a sudden, another boy. Boys, stay away. What are you going to do? And they just kept pushing. It was only later on I found, but they told the staff to stay away from the office. Planned all this out.
Wow.
Mad. Proper. If I don't, it's proper mad. Really mad. So they'd done it, take the business, pay me off, at an IT recruitment business.
Like, I mean, obviously, but it's like from where you've got a child on the way. So
Alfie at this time had been born, right?
Just been born.
So 6 months old now, Alfie.
6 months old. So you're in a stage with a family now.
Yep.
You think you're going into partnership with equity.
Yep.
And I feel there becomes a point at some point where a penny drops, but you've done this without shareholders agreements or
So it was you'll get your 6 months.
Yeah.
We prove it's all good. You know, get your money, it's fine. Then at 6 months,
but your
as in your probation ends, you'll start to get we'll get your share sorted out and everything will be done. And that's when I started pushing. Where's my shares? Where's the
And then you're asked to leave without any notice or anything. So so your wife suggested before this, like, why don't you go out on your own?
Yeah. Yep.
You're in a situation now where at that point your income literally stops.
Yep.
What's your next move?
Next move, phone Deborah up. Come pick me up.
Yeah.
Come pick me up. And these boys are still provoking.
Yeah.
And I've had to walk away.
Yeah.
And that's not, honestly, if I told you what they did, you would not believe it. Put it this way, right? They phoned me up a week earlier.
Yeah.
Told me I'd left my car in Newcastle. It'd been nicked from the car park.
Huh.
Reported it to insurance. What had they done? They'd nicked it, burnt it out. So on the day they come down, told the insurance I made a fraudulent claim. It had been nicked, da-da-da-da-da. They come down and told me it had been burnt out. Now what are you going to do? By the way, we've got rid of your car. So, okay. You know, you go, I can be a bit fiery sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's what they wanted.
Mm.
You know, you go, something's not right. This can't be right. I've got these two big boys.
Yeah.
Keep coming over my shoulder. Keeps tugging. And now, this bit about the car. I've just got to work out how to get out of here.
Yeah.
And get out with my sanity. So that, no job, no car.
Yeah.
Tried to make a claim, said, can't claim. Been told that it's a fraudulent claim. As soon as they mention that, you try and get your insurance. Won't happen. I wasn't there. I wasn't in Newcastle. It's not. No. Right, so it cost me my car. So all this finance, no monies. So again, sat there, upset for a day.
Wow.
Dad kicked me up the arse next morning and said, right, now go downstairs, go make some money.
Yeah.
So down I went, back room. And so SSA is born.
Yeah, literally there and then.
Literally there and then with 24 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got a young baby,
Yeah.
you know, and I can't physically fight them, but no one's going to knock me down.
No.
I'm going to get back up, I'm going to come back fighting. And this is my way of getting back up and fighting. They'd gone already to all my clients. They told my clients I'd been arrested for fraud. I got emails to my clients telling them I was in prison. That's how stupid these guys were. It was only the next day a few clients were trying to phone me. Are you all right? Yeah, we've been told, we've been told you're in prison. Well, unless I've got in prison with a phone tucked in somewhere, I've answered my phone, so we knew. Yeah. They'd sent that. So then looked at fighting that court case, went through that, spent more money on that to get my monies out, to prove it all. But it's hard, right? All of this is hard. Run my tribunal hearing, but then you've got to get him to pay the money. He never even turned up to tribunal. Never paid money, then got to employ things, didn't happen. Trying to get my car, went to court, went to barristers. Hard as. So I was left with 75 grand debt, no money. 6-month-old baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
And sometimes I know it sounds silly, Richard, right? Sometimes these things are a blessing, right? I would never want anybody to go through that, right?
No.
Because that stress could break a lot of people, could break a relationship. Lucky enough, my relationship was good and Deb was, is strong as well. But you come back fighting. And sometimes we need a little pressure and a push. Don't get me wrong, I never want that push again. But that was the drive to then say, this ain't happening again.
You got news regarding your son Alfie that I can't even relate to.
Yeah.
What happened?
Alfie got out of the blue, had a full-blown epileptic seizure, but a bad one. We got a call from his school saying, can you get here quickly? Ambulance are working on him. I'd worked on him for quite a while. So it turns out the natures of his seizures are ones that may not happen all the time, but when they do happen, it's touch and go, whether or not what after effect you'll get out of it, right? So without putting too fine a point on it. So Rust Air School, and that was the start of now of a new journey. So coming out of hospital, did that, fine, put it down. Hospital tests. So lad won't fit. Be okay. If it doesn't have any more, we're just going to assess it. Happened again. Same thing, hospital, working on him, resuscitated him. So then it then gets to this next stage. Now look at it. And this is where we found out the fits that he has are bad, but couldn't understand why. Had a little bit of delayed learning. But what we found out is he may have been having these fits in his sleep. We've not known. We've been very lucky. In the meantime, he's been killing off his brain cells. So it's attacking the rear quarter of his brain. Would have been a matter of time before a fit could have killed him. But on that time, every time it kills, it would have been a matter of time before lost his sight, lost his left-hand side of his body. So we were in a situation where we're very lucky. Only 75 people get into this scheme, which is with Bristol. It's the head neurosurgeon for paediatrics, for the kids. And we went through this journey, having fits nearly every day. All of this going on and happening, and the bit of really come out of it, to then having, we need to do brain surgery. We're going to have to remove rear quarter of his brain. It's a big op. There's a chance that he may not come out of it. Best case scenario, we're probably going to lose his sight, left-hand side of his body. But hopefully we'll control the fits and get rid of that. So what do you want to do? So a lot of back and forth, a lot of soul searching. Alf loves his sport. So it done much like me. He loves his sport. Wasn't academic. So you have this thing, do I take, all intents and purposes, I thought he was going to lose the left-hand side of his body. That's best case. Not going to be able to do sport. Going to take all this stuff away. Going to stop him being a kid.
Because he loves football. Yeah.
So cricket is his thing. He loves any sport, right? Loves his martial arts. Loves it. And to be honest, part of all of these things that we did with the sports and pushing him, whilst it was always hard, these are the bits that helped him remap his brain and kept him on form. So I was going to take all this away. So I know it sounds really weird. Do you let your child be a child and enjoy it, or do you potentially take it all away and give him a lesser life? Does that make sense? And it's a really bizarre thing, but it comes down to it. To talk to family and you have to do what's right, and hope that we're doing the right thing for him. So we agreed to have the operation. It happened quickly. Said, look, we can't really wait too long. It was in the February, we'd gone for Christmas talking about this. January, come back in for the appointment. Right, case getting worse. We need to do it. Can you give us an answer? It's like a Wednesday on a Friday. Okay, now we need to have some proper conversations. In the meantime, I've been out of work here, there. We've been down at Bristol doing his tests. I'd bang on the dot, probably 9:30, 10 o'clock every day, and have a seizure. So I'd come out of work, be at hospital, be somewhere. So that balance with that meant it's
How do you? I was going to say, because the reason I sort of brought the subject in as the point when you're running a business is the it doesn't compare at all. But to give an example, when Leslie's mum passed away, we were speaking to her. She's around her house New Year's Day. She come round and she'd had a rough night's sleep. She went home and she had collapsed from a brain hemorrhage that night. Literally that afternoon. We got a phone call from her dad like hours later. I had two members of staff. So small business was really small at that point. And I was trying to look after my wife. It impacted me. Everything was going on. I'm looking after business, and then I just went into work one day, and one of my members of staff, who now runs her own business, and left, but she broke down into tears. Said, "My mum's in hospital," and it hit me like I'd been out of work just for a few days. But she had been trying to deal with the business for a couple of days. and it's not her business.
Yeah.
And I just had to deal with. I told her to leave straight away. I said, "You go be with your mum."
Yeah.
And she said, "But what are you?" And I said, "This is my problem." And I just had to just work.
And unfortunately, there is no other way.
Yeah.
There is no other way out of it. You know, and I suppose a bit like when my mum died. You have to do things because other people rely on. You know, my dad fell apart, my sister fell apart. There's stuff that had to be done. That was down to me. Now with this, Debs is in that day to day because she's at home with Alf. Right, she struggled with it. I've got to deal with it. I've got to deal with work because that's our income. I have to find a way to deal with it. And I suppose I'm lucky. I'd say I'm lucky. It's a curse. I can put things in a box and not deal with them. But that also means I can't really speak about them, i.e.
But then
as I just found out about my mum, I find it hard because I lock it in a box and it's fine because I can then deal with everything else I need to deal with. I don't need to deal with that until
we have to deal with things at some point.
Until I have to open the box. In the meantime, it's all right in there. You know, if I was just a day-to-day event, do that, rush, go hospital, finish, I've got to go back to work. Right, we're here, what are we doing? You know, and it was tough. You know, as a business, we're close. You know, Kevin, stuff like that. It affected them as well, which you don't realise. You know, I don't know Alfie. They've known. You know, in the office. They've been with me a while, so it affected them as well. Yeah. But it's tough. So the business was. I wasn't on. Whilst I was in the business, I wasn't mentally in the business as much as you start to see things slip, and it's tough. But Alf had got that bit on they decided to do the op on the Monday. I'd set up. He was just getting ready to do his purple belt for karate. So they set up his grading on the Sunday before he went down Monday. So he could get see if he could get his belt, so pass, because that could be the last belt. So I did that, watched him grade on his own, Saturday, bored. So I don't know if he's going to come back. So I've set up all these things, had his last cricket training session on a Saturday. All the boys are there, all right, good. Alf doesn't know no different, just going to have his op. Goodbye, Alf, had his last, what could be, his last game of cricket with his boys. His last thing. And he drove down Monday morning. And got his op, and he's a fighter. He's going to get ready for his op. He's undetermined. Coming in the morning, and the nurse phone. She goes, he's doing press ups. And she goes, "Why are you doing that?" She goes, "My dad told me I need to be strong."
Wow.
Dad told me I need to be strong and fit. So I walked down the op with him, and he didn't want to go chair. Walked down, put it down. So that was that. So 12 hours under, walk around Bristol, probably the longest 12 hours of your life. You go back, and then anaesthesis comes out. It's going to be a bit longer. Don't worry, but be a bit longer. So 14, 15 hours, I think. Then come out to resus. The idea was, so I'd got an apartment in Bristol. The idea was when he had his op, it'd take us 6 months rehab to get out. So we'd got an apartment in Bristol. My life was going to be split between Bristol and office in Northampton. Waiting for him to come out. They said, don't expect anything. We might get anything for 2 weeks. So he's going into intensive care now. Come see him. Reading through. Someone goes, "What's next?" Doctor looks at Debs, goes, "Wheeled him in. There's all thingied up. They're also, right, well. All right, doctor goes, take that. Kid should be in a coma, should be comatose for 2 weeks. Did that, then he woke up. Nurse goes, "You all right?" She goes, kick your leg. Did a front kick. Doctor goes, "Mr. Sharp." Fuck. Can't explain it. So we don't know what we're left with yet. He said, but we'll
Take that.
We'll take that, right? So instead of 2 weeks intensive care, come out in 24 hours.
Wow.
Get through.
Definitely a strong fight.
Right, so we've got all these, but again, we don't know what we're left with, right? So there's all these horrible things. But instead of 6 months, we was out in 2 weeks, Richard. 2 weeks he come out, he passed all his physio in 2 weeks. So what we've been left with, lost left-hand side. That's, you know, and I'll take that.
Yeah.
Rear quarter brain disconnected. So, you know, he had to learn to, he should have had to learn to speak and reconnect and do all these bits. Speech is there, but again, speech is still a bit broken, but it's getting there. So he's always making progress. And then he come back and we hit COVID 6 months later. So business is rocky as hell, foot's off the ball, then COVID. Good timing.
Yeah.
Good timing. But we worked through it. Alf's up and about. Like I said, they'd have all the other issues of his learning and that laid. But I'll take that. We'll get that up. He's always making progress. But that's hard times.
I've seen pictures with his kit on and stuff now.
Yeah, it's a place, County Disabilities Cricket.
Yeah.
And it's good. He's good. But as a dad, it's still hard to take.
Yeah.
That, you know, your son's disabilities team and has to go to a SEND school. And it's, you know what I mean, that bit breaks your heart because of what could have. Yeah. But you can never dwell on what could have been. No. So, you know, we always say we live where we are today and we keep pushing. Unfortunately, his fits have come back. Yeah. But we're trying to control them now. So that's a bit of a curveball, but it's another part of our story. It's another part of our story. My boy's still healthy and enjoying life.
Has that experience changed your relationship with work and the business? No.
So I suppose the bit that changed is that I realised that I actually wasn't in the business during this time, really, as much as I should have been mentally. Right? It's changed the fact of where we are now today, and it's only recently that this has just sort of kicked in as a factor. You know, I suppose to a certain extent we were, when we've looked at it. I did that bit, put it in a box, dealt with Deborah, Deborah needed support. It turned out we had like PTSD. Deal with all this trauma, right? I'm trying to do everything day to day, but I'm trying to do my boy, but I'm putting it in my box. Yeah. Oh, you deal, and then all of a sudden it kicks you up the backside from nowhere. Everything comes in, and this is where I suppose time and mental health, these bits and pieces, COVID kicks in, and we had more time. And then when you have more time, you think more. So COVID was a bad period for us from a mental health perspective. And it turns out all these thoughts are coming through because you're not busy enough to deal with them. And they have to come out at some stage, Richard. You're right, they do. So I suppose for me now is now to rebuild the business. But I need to put in, the business can't be me. No. It can't be me. It's not a business. I have to have a management structure that can step up and look after and do all these bits. I have to make sure that all the procedures are in place. My playbooks are done, you know. So I suppose this is the bit, better late than never, I suppose. Kick up the bum that a business isn't just about me. And I've always known that. But it's only when you pressure test it, which you never want to do. And when you pressure test it, it's too bloody late in business, right? We're lucky, you know, we'll ride the storm. But you then realise, okay, now I've got to change how the business looks and feels.
Well, that's probably a good opportunity to really sort of pick into some of your sort of 14 plus years of working in recruitment and that, because when you're looking, you've had a lot of learning experiences in the early years, and then you've had a few kicks and rocky roads along there that you've picked up from. And the point where you just described there, where the business can't just be you. Yeah. It's a journey I've been on for a few years, building up and saying like the business can't just be me. And you're on that journey yourself now.
Yeah.
So how do you go about looking for the right kind of people for these roles?
For our roles, again, this comes down to market knowledge. Okay, you can only do something with market knowledge. Okay, especially within IT and tech, right? Yeah. It's all about communities, networks, and everything else. You know, tech's a great business to be in, but it's a tough business to deal with people in to a certain extent, right? So, you know, for us to go out and find these guys, one, we've got to know what we're looking for. And that's not just the skill set, because not everybody puts a skill set on their CV. I have to understand, or people have to understand the environments that people are working. If they're doing A, B, and C, that means they're doing X, Y, and Z. Doesn't say it on their CV, but by default, from what I've read in the CV, there's a good chance that they're going to be doing this part of development. Yeah. That's how you then start to find your talent and build it up. I can't just go on, you know, that time-old adage, you know, here's a PHP developer. Yeah, but it's not right for me. Well, he is. He's got PHP. I know, but there's nothing. The wrong frameworks. It's not what we do. Yeah. You know, a developer's not just a developer that fits everybody's box. Yeah. It's about projects and everything else. And I'm using development as an example.
But there's something else. It's not just the understanding the wider scope of the technical skills. So what you just described there is, I'm leading the question.
That's the base, right? Yeah. Then comes down to, you know, I'm very fortunate, and you know, one of the great things I get from recruitment is I build up relationships like this over years, right? Yeah. I know, you know, the environments that people are coming into. Then it comes down to personalities, and I know, and soft skills, right? And that's the biggest. In my mind, it's the biggest key. Yeah. I could have the best developer in the world that has every skill set that you want and some. Yeah. That can evolve your team, evolve your build, no matter what. If he doesn't fit in your organisation, culturally, mentally, and I implant him into that seat, it will be the worst hire that you will ever have. Worst hire you'll ever have. You know?
Whenever somebody comes through yourselves, there's a very high probability that they're the right fit. But that's taken effort and from your part of getting to know me as a person and the culture of the organisation I lead. But that doesn't have to be just for recruitment. But this is where I was leading with.
This comes down to being consultancy, right? You know, take recruitment out of the mix, right? As soon as you mention recruitment, it gets that bad rap, right? But, you know, it should be a consultative approach. It's what we do. We build up relationships. It's the only way that we can work with you successfully. And I'm going to use Jeremiah that sat behind me, that when we sell an opportunity, that it's right for the candidate, you know? I spoke to Jeremiah, he's enjoying his time here. Yeah. It is what I sold. Aren't you? Yeah. It is what we sold him. Yeah. That's what it should be. If we don't sell that, we're getting people knocking on the doors because they've left after 3 months because it's not right. They've taken more money. It's, you know, and this also comes down to there has to be some understanding on client side as well. When we're starting to work with a client. Yeah. There's a reason I want to come and meet you. I'm not doing it for the sake of doing it. I'm doing it because I want to be successful within your organisation. We want to be a trusted talent partner. And to do that, I have to understand you. I have to understand your team to get the right fit, because it's never about skill sets. I'll take someone with 60% of skill sets and the right mentality. Yeah. Is the right candidate over someone with 99%, but has to work in a darkened corner and doesn't want, do you know what it's...
So why, I get that. Yeah. Otherwise, say we wouldn't have been working together for so long. Yeah. And I appreciate that.
Yes.
And not pretty much every company we work with, we built a relationship up. As a company, we're very loyal to the companies we work with. Yeah. And I always say I want to be the customer. You know, if you've got to do a task for us, I want us to be the customer you want to work with. And I've used that expression with other companies we work with. Preaching to the converted, why do you feel in your industry in recruitment it has a bad rap, and why people would be reluctant to have that meeting, get close to the recruitment partner, let's say, a recruitment company to work with?
I think because those waters are already muddied,
yeah,
and recruitment gets a bad rap. Why do people want to recruit? And again, this is all part of an educational thing, yeah. And we say to do a successful hire or recruitment, right? It takes time and dedication. You can't do it half-heartedly. Yeah. But they go, I haven't got time to see you. Yeah, but you need to hire. This is an important hire. Yeah. You haven't got time to see me. Have you got time to interview? Oh, well, you need to make time. It's important. Yeah. It can make or break a project, can make and break a culture. It's important. So we're not doing it just to get in to come and see you. We want to be a talent partner. You forget, the reason it gets bad raps, you've got agencies that are just firing CVs into hiring managers, hoping they're going to get a foot in the door. Oh, by the way, if you ever interview him, I'm going to sting you 20% on terms and conditions. I'm going to do that old school. Yeah. There's no, I can fire in a CV and hope I get some engagement. But the only way I'm successful from there is to build up that relationship and understand. We want to be the trusted partner. Again, prime example, once we understand your business, understand where you are, it's very rare you have to give me a job spec anymore. Yeah. Because I understand what you need, unless it's a new project. Yeah. But we've still got frameworks of where we are, so we take all that pain away. Yeah. And make it easy. But we can only do that if we can, at that time or that, partner you, right? Yeah. Recruitment should be a partnership because we're making a hire and we're representing you. This is what these people need to, or hire managers, talent managers need to understand. If you get a good agency, it is about partnering. Because I'm going out there and I want to sell your business in the best light. If I go out and sell and your recruitment process is broken, it makes me look bad and it makes the organisation look bad. Darren put me forward from SSA. First of all, I go, Darren put me forward from SSA. It's always us, we're at the forefront because we're dealing with it. Oh yeah, and I went to see BD Group but I didn't get an interview. 2 weeks took him to come back for an interview. And then he was busy, he was on holiday. And he's decided to pull the role. All of a sudden, I look bad, you look bad. Markets become very tight and very small, people talk, and you'll be surprised the amount of times we'll go out to a developer and go, I've got this opportunity. I know someone to interview for them. Yeah, no, I won't go there. No, look. Make your own mind up. Let me tell you about this. This experience has changed. This is where, if we manage the process, right, the processes should be taken as a job. Recruitment should be.
Yeah. I see it the same as after the hire, though. Well, actually, not even just after the hire, because as you know, people who have worked for me have gone from one role to the next. And I'm a firm believer in investing the time. And sometimes you can't. Sometimes things are happening and you're literally bouncing off the walls and stretched from pillar to post.
We get it.
But you put the time in to settle the person into the role, train them, and productivity takes a hit. And I love the analogy of sharpening the saw. I want to use sort of 7 successful habits of you're too busy cutting the tree down, you haven't got time to sharpen the saw. And whereas if you took that time, in fact I've just had one of these conversations with one of my management team just a few weeks ago. You take the time to sharpen the saw, you feel like you're doing nothing, you feel like you're making no progress at that point. But then once the saw is sharp, once you've invested that time in that person, suddenly everything becomes a lot easier and progress is made.
Yes. And this goes back to me building my network or building my foundations of the company. Yeah. I'm too busy sawing down a tree. Yeah. To actually, at the moment, I'm using like a butter knife. Do you know what I mean? So I need to take a step back.
To sharpen the saw.
Yeah, it's going to take a long time to sharpen that saw, Richard, but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it in the end. Yeah. So, but the whole idea is about partnering with organisations that want growth. It's an important part, Yeah. And that's the only way, in my mind, it's the only way that we can be successful, you know. All of this stuff, you know, silly little things like, I need to chat to the hiring manager.
Yeah.
I can't chat to the hiring manager. He's hiring. I just need to understand him. And that could be his thought pattern, his thing, you know, job spec's fine, but it's just a document. It's not what I get when I speak to him. You know, this is going to happen. Okay, now these are key points. These are sell points. And these also then start to build up this environment that I'm selling for people to go into. They're the key to success for a successful placement. Yeah. And it's like, now I can do a good job. That's the only reason I want to chat to your hiring manager. Do you know what I mean? You've still got to pay my bill. I've still got to come through you. I'm not cutting. Just let me chat. I need to understand these things. So if we can build up that partnership, that's when recruitment works best. Yeah. And that's when it is consultative. That's when it does happen. We can look at something we can give, you know, we can give ideas and suggestions. You know, we've had projects where you go, I need this urgently. What can we do? Okay, well, look, if we look permanent, it's going to take X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Our security guy that time, get contractors, use that, and we get that, plug the gap. Yeah. And we'll come up with a solution. We're not there to just give you a member of staff. Yeah. We're there to give you a solution on how to obtain talent for one specific project, reason, you know, whatever that may be. And it's never just, it could be permanent, could be contract, could be a mix of things that we're having to do to get it right. We could plug it with a contractor that goes then on to permie, or we plug it with a contractor and then we've got the permanent come in, the permanent comes in, it's not right, but then we've got more resource that needs to come in.
But that's all based over the understanding and
that we chat,
knowing the wider
that
picture.
we chat.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important.
So the going back to SSA,
yes.
We've established your relationship with the company has changed through the experience, but it's moved you to your mindset to a stage of building up the management of the company, the team, and it's put more. It has for me what I'm doing. I can totally relate. It puts more fire in your belly. That's it. We're onto a project now. We're going. We're going for growth. Where do you see the future?
Where do I see the future? So I'm still having this conversation with myself as we speak, because lots has happened. This is probably the first time that I feel that my head's clear to now start to define what the future looks like. I know it doesn't look like it does now, right? For me, foundation, growth, out in 5 to 10. Yeah, that's where it needs to be. Yeah. Now, how the bits in between that work is, you know,
you've got your end goal and now you're breaking it down.
Now I'm breaking it down into stages. My first stage, and again, I don't know whether you've ever done that. I get guilty of kind of, I think we're good. Then something comes on, I've got to throw my energy in that, and I forgot about this build again. You know, so nothing else can happen until this is done. I can't get excited about something else.
I tell you, having shareholders and a board of directors is very good at keeping me focused and not getting distracted by shiny things. Yeah. It's in my nature to like, ooh. But,
And part of that for me, I suppose, is I'm always worried to ask for help. Yeah. Right. And part of me comes to realise that there is stages, you know, what we've been through recently, and you know the strain has taken mentally that I do need to ask for help. Right, within my network of friends or whatever. So part of that's probably going to lead me to a Ned. Yeah. Just to help. Yeah. You know, you have your shareholders, stuff like that, where they'll give you guidance and stuff like that, and I think probably I'm at that stage now where I need a Ned, just to. I'm
a big advocate.
Help me see the wood from the tree. The trees.
I always had this perception of NEDs, non-exec directors, for anybody not understanding the acronym, but it's for me, I'm a big advocate. I never used to be. Yeah. If you go back to the younger myself, I'd be like, oh god, yeah. But actually, I wouldn't be where I am doing what I'm doing, and I wouldn't have made many of what have been turned out to be really good decisions. Yeah. If it weren't for them and me being accountable for them, and then sort of just thought about once a quarter, just run me why. Yeah. I think accountability is sometimes key. Yeah. It is.
Accountability is key. It's like I went through years of not having, I wouldn't have a personal trainer.
No.
They don't know any more than me.
No.
Crap. And there is a lot of crappy ones out there. But I found one that was good.
Yeah. And it's the accountability.
And he was on the same wave. Again, it's a bit like me. It's finding the right person for recruitment, right? I found the right PT.
Yeah.
On the same wavelength as me. Knew what my end goal was. Knew that I did my martial arts. Knew that it needed to be dynamic, associate with. And to have that accountability helped me.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of in that. And it's a growing phase. My wife's going to be shocked. She is. I might be growing up all of a sudden. But I think for me is also looking at that Ned route.
Yeah. Just
for one, accountability. And two, I think you need to see someone with fresh eyes. I've been here for a while doing the same thing. It's gotta. I need to have someone that can guide me and help me.
And just to sort of wrap up, if there was a TARDIS in front of you, you could go back 20 years, 25 years to your younger self.
Yeah.
With the knowledge you've got now, what sort of bits of advice, 3 bits of advice or things you would say to your younger self?
Stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Don't let people when I say stay in your lane, don't let these people try and distract you and pull you off your target. There's a lot of people that will take great pleasure in making you come off the rails, unbeknown to you. Yeah. So stay in your lane. Don't let that happen. Next bit, circles. Keep your circles tight and keep evolving your circles. Yeah.
This is your relationships
and stuff like that, right? Yeah. Because again, you need to be surrounded. This goes back to Neds and stuff like that. I always enjoy our talks and sitting down because when you open up a business or you have your own business, people that don't have a business won't understand the things that you go through day to day. Most of the people that you'll chat to go, "It's all right for you, isn't it? Got your own business." No, it's not. no, it's not. It's far from that. So circles and network is important, and put yourself out there. I was only saying to Debbie the other day as we were looking at all of this. I actually work best, and I've forgotten that due to COVID and all that's gone on. I'm best when I'm out there. We do best when we network and we're with the right people, and we get out and we push ourselves. That's key. That's important. And I suppose that part of it is my biggest battle, and still is today, is to have belief in yourself. I've always gone forward. There's always that bit. Should I be doing this? There's always that constant battle. So it is believe that you're good. Yeah. And there's that bit been going, that arrogance of, okay, I know, but there's that other bit where, am I really good? And we're gonna if you trust the process. Yeah. No. I suppose there'd be my 3 bits.
No, brilliant. Thank you for coming in and sharing the journey you've been on. There's been some tough parts.
Apologies about that as well. By the way, that's part.
And not just the tough aspects, but I'm a firm believer. When I look back at my own life from like younger years to now, and think, would I change anything? And it's easy to look back and think, would I change anything? And there's some parts you absolutely, you said absolutely would, but they shape who you are.
Agree.
And now the journey you're on and where you are now, it's inspiring to hear.
Thank you.
A lot of great parts for people to pick up from your own experiences to share. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for watching this episode of Drive. If you'd like to be kept up to date and notified when the next episodes go live, then hit subscribe and a little bell icon there as well. Hit that to get notified and you won't miss an episode. It also helps me know which is working, which isn't. And don't forget to hit a like, comment. It's all great feedback. Thank you.